They called it the irrepressible conflict, the war for the Union, the war of the rebellion, the war of northern aggression, the war of secession, Mr. Lincoln's war. And we know it as the Civil War. Hundreds of men and boys from Venango County went off to fight. Hundreds died in service to the Union and to their country. These were among the names. Some have disappeared from our county, and others continue to contribute today. Justice, Frank, Fleming, Hayes, Reno, Hassan, Boyle, Blakely, Bromley, McCool, Carnes, Tarr, Heckathorn, Blair, Greenlee, Rogers, Lynch. Recruitment began in April 1861 at a meeting that filled the park outside the courthouse. The men joined the Venango Grays, the 103rd, Burnside's Army, the 105th, the 142nd, Lamberton's Guards, the Bucktails, and more.
Venango County men fought and died at Bull Run, South Mountain, Gettysburg, Appomattox, Chancellorsville, Antietam, Wilderness Campaign, Lookout Mountain, Fair Oaks. Venango County soldiers died in Libby Prison, Belle Isle Prison, and in Andersonville. Some are buried in Andersonville. More are buried in the Venango County cemeteries and in the Civil War Unknowns Monument in Arlington Cemetery.
There were the Bromley brothers, 6 of them who served in the war.
Of the 6 boys, James enlisted in the 83rd Company G in the infantry on August 28, 1861. He died at the Second Battle of Bull Run on August 30th, 1862 in Manassas, Virginia, just 1 year and 2 days later. His brother Archibald enlisted through the same company. He also died at the same battle. They were buried in a mass grave. James and Archibald are now both buried at the Tomb of the Unknown Civil War Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. John Montgomery enlisted in the 83rd PA Infantry Company G. Just following the deaths of James and Archibald, he contracted consumption and was sent home. He died literally as the train from Syracuse, New York, rolled into the town of Oil City, Pennsylvania. George enlisted in the 64th PA Cavalry Company I, Regiment 4 on October 17, 1864. He served as an orderly under General Grant. He was involved in the 7-Day War. At that point, he was taken captive. He was held prisoner at Belle Isle Prison, was transferred to Libby Isle Prison, and finally sent to Andersonville, where he was starved to death and died on Sunday, June 5th, 1864. He's buried in Anderson National Historic Cemetery in grave number 1654. William enlisted near the end of the war and returned safely home to marry and have 2 children. Last, Leonard, my great-great-grandfather, served as a private in the 57th PA Infantry Company A. He was just 15 years old and served as a drummer boy.
There were the Mays brothers.
The Mays brothers from Rockland fought with Company L, 4th Pennsylvania Cavalry. Naomi died at Stony Creek. Alpheus died in Washington, D.C. from wounds suffered at Stony Creek. And William died at Farmville. Philander, who returned to live out his days, is buried in Rockland. In the Rockland Cemetery, if you visit today, you will find 4 American flags in a row. These are the Mays brothers. These men are only a few of the many who gave their lives.
And what can we, the living, do to honor them? As early as April 1861, as soon as the war began, the men and women in Pennsylvania began working to provide clothing, food, and medical supplies for the soldiers. Women left behind in the rural areas, small towns, and cities all over the Commonwealth worked tirelessly through local relief societies to see that their soldiers did not want. Hospitals, hospital ships, canteens for traveling soldiers, and even homes for orphaned children of soldiers were created and maintained by the relief societies.
In 1864, the United States Sanitary Commission, the largest of the relief agencies, challenged the counties and cities in western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, and in western Virginia to send money and supplies to the Pittsburgh Fair to benefit our Union soldiers. To encourage generosity from a war-weary people, the Commission offered premiums, the top prize being a marble monument worth more than $2,000. Venango County, contributing the most in proportion to its population, won the prize and immediately began to prepare for the monument's placement in the park near the county courthouse in Franklin. The base was placed in June 1866 with a strong box of historic items sealed within. Names of the dead soldiers were chiseled into the marble. The monument was dedicated on September 10, 1866.
These words, spoken at the dedication almost 150 years ago, embody our continuing responsibility to recognize and celebrate our ancestors. Let all of our soldiers, dead or living, be honored in the hearts of their fellow citizens for their work on our behalf. Historic Franklin Preservation Association first began working toward the preservation of the Civil War monument in 1988. Members noticed that some of the soldiers' names inscribed on the monument had faded and were barely legible. Working with the city of Franklin and Venango County, the association commissioned 5 brass plaques containing the names of 424 county soldiers who died in the Civil War. The plaques were installed in July 1990, following a dedication ceremony held on Independence Day. In the last 24 years, the Civil War monument has deteriorated considerably. The once gleaming white monument that was the focal point of Franklin's South Park has become stained by air pollution and mold and has cracks in several places. In cooperation with the City of Franklin and the Commission to Remember Our Heroes, the Historic Franklin Preservation Association has embarked on a mission to clean and stabilize the Civil War monument. In April 2013, the association engaged Conservation Solutions Incorporated to conduct a professional assessment of the monument. The assessment found a significant loss of mortar in all joints of the monument and the sandstone base, cracks in both the sandstone and marble sections of the monument, and marble erosion that has led to loss of carved details. In addition, discoloration due to air pollution and biological growths and vandalism from graffiti are negatively affecting the monument. Conservation Solutions estimates that the cost to correct these problems and prevent additional deterioration is $50,000. After the initial restoration, an additional $15,000 will be needed to maintain the monument and prevent additional deterioration. Let us continue to work together in the spirit of the original men and women who honored their dead. You can help restore the Civil War monument so that it will continue to stand as a testament to the more than 400 Venango County soldiers who gave their lives to preserve the Union. Please send donations to the Historic Franklin Preservation Association, Post Office Box 866, Franklin, Pennsylvania 16323. All donations are tax deductible.